Hello and welcome back to this video. If you have gotten to this point, then you have come to the end of the module 1 of this series. In this video, we'll be talking about Python basic operations. So what are Python basic operations? Well, Python basic operations are the fundamental actions that you can perform on Python data, Python variables, depending on the type of data that you are using. Okay, and we can achieve this by using Python operators. So these Python operators allows you to manipulate, compare, and process data. Okay, so to make logical decisions about your variable or your data. So in this video, we are going to be looking at the following: the meaning of Python basic operations, arithmetic operations, comparison operations, and logical operations. So we've already talked about what Python basic operation means. So what are arithmetic operations? Arithmetic operations are the type of Python operations that you can perform on your data with arithmetic signs such as plus sign, minus sign, division sign, multiplication sign, and the rest of them. For instance, you can sum up data, you can sum up numbers, and you can add a string to another, and that is concatenation that we have already talked about in one of our previous videos. So let's look at comparison operations. They are the operations that you can use some symbols, mathematical symbols as well, to compare one data to another, whether they are equal, whether they are the same, whether one is greater than the other or less than the other. Okay, then we talk about logical operators. Talking about logical operations, we are going to be using logical operators to make decisions whether two statements are true or false. So these are basic explanation of what Python operation means. So let's hop into our code editor to understand this better. So back to our code editor, we still have our formal exercises here, and I am going to clear this code and I'm going to start from the very beginning. For a start, we are going to be looking at the operators that we are going to be using. Now, there are three categories of operators that we are going to be using in this tutorial. And the first category is called the arithmetic operators. So I'll just write a comment. Arithmetic operators. So what are these arithmetic operators? I'm going to write all of them out as comments. So we have the plus sign for addition, the minus sign for subtraction, the star character for multiplication, the forward slash for division, the modulus sign for modulus. So this is the percentage sign that we know. But in this context, it is used to find the modulus of a data. Then also we have the double asterisk, the asterisk for multiplication, the modulus sign for division. So this modulus sign is what we know as the percentage sign. But in this context, it is used to find the modulus of a value. Okay. Also, we have the double asterisk for squaring a number, and also we have the double forward slash for floor division. So by floor division, we mean that the value that is going to be returned is a whole number. So even if after dividing your data, what you get is like a float or a decimal value, using this double forward slash instead of one single forward slash will make the data to be returned to just be a whole number, to be rounded up on the whole number level. Okay, so the lower whole number amount that was gotten from that division will be returned. Now we also have the single forward slash for division. So the double forward slash returns the floor whole number, and then the single forward slash returns the exact value of that division. Okay, now I'm also going to write out the comparison operators. And this includes, I'll also write them in a comment, equals equals, not equals, and it is represented with an exclamation mark and an equal sign. The next one is the greater than sign, and there's the less than sign, and also we have greater than or equal and less than or equal. So the third category of operators that we are going to be using are the logical operators. So I'll write again in a comment, logical operators. So this logical operator includes words like and, or, and not. So, like the name implies, it makes the program to make decisions. So the program will have to compare two values and know whether they are equal. So if you want to compare two values, you are comparing this and this. So that is where the and comes in. Let's start with the arithmetic operators on numbers. So when we talk about numbers, we talk about integers, we talk about floats, that is decimal values, and then we talk about complex numbers. Okay, so I believe we have encountered all of these data types before. And also, you can perform some arithmetic operations on string, such as addition and multiplication. So let us move forward to see how to perform arithmetic operators on numbers and strings. So first of all, I am going to go in with numbers. I can declare variables like x equals 10 and y equals 5. So I can maybe z equals x plus y and then print z. So let's save and run. Now we have our 15 down here. You can print directly or you can store them in a variable and then perform the addition and print out the addition. Okay, so now this is also applied this is also applicable to other operators. So if I want to change this to minus and this to minus, well, and I save, and again it's the same thing, 5 5. Okay, so I can also change this to multiplication. So we are going to use the asterisk, and that is what is used in Python to perform multiplication. So we use the asterisk and then we run. So now this has multiplied 10 by 5. Okay, this has multiplied 10 by 5 in both cases. So I'm going to clear my output so that we won't have to be scrolling down all the time. So now, what is modulus? Modulus is simply the remainder of any division. Okay, so if I say 10 modulus 5, I'm just trying to say that what is the remainder, what is the leftover after 5 divides 10. Okay, after 5 people divides 10 items, what is going to be the leftover? Okay, so if there is no leftover, if there is no remainder, it is going to print as 0. So let's change this to the percentage sign for the both of them and save and run. And it says 0, and that is because after performing the division of 10 over 5, there is no remainder. So if I'm to change the value here to something like 13, and I will change it for the both instances. So 13 over 5, of course 5 will divide 10 and then there should be 3 left over. So there should be 3 remaining after the division. So let's save and run, and this, and we have 3. Okay, so that is the meaning of modulus. So we can use this to check for odd numbers and even numbers. That is one way that we can use this to check. So you can say that if after division the modulus is this, then you can attribute it to an odd number or an even number. Okay, so let's check for this, the fourth operator. So let's use the fourth operator, which is the double asterisk that is used to square figures. So it is used to exponentiate figures. So we know what exponentiation means. So it's like if I say 13 exponential 5 is 13 raised to the power of 5. Okay, so but I'm going to use lower figures so that we'll be sure of the value that the print statement is giving us. So we are going to use 4 to the power of 2, and we are going to write the power operator here. So I'm going to also change this 13 to 4 and 5 to 2, and I'm going to change my operator to the power operator, and then I'll save and run. So here we have 16 16 because 4 raised to power 2 is 16. Okay, So also let us perform division operations using the division signs or operators. So the first one is going to be the floor division operator, that is double forward slash, and I am going to change this to a number that is not divisible by 2, that is 5, and I'm going to also change this to 5. So I'm going to clear my terminal and I'm going to save and run. Well, it returns 2 for us, and the reason is because it just gives you back the lowest value of the outcome of that division. So let us use the single operator to clarify this. When we divide this, we are supposed to get 2.5, right? So let's run this. Now we have 2.5. So this is what the actual value is supposed to be. Now to demonstrate this better, I am going to change these values to something that when we round it up normally, is supposed to be approximated to the higher figure. Okay, so let's do something like 8 here and 3 down beneath, and here again we have 8 and we have 3. So I'm going to clear my terminal, save and run. So the actual value for this division is 2.6 and the rest of it. So if I round this 6 up to its nearest figure, and I by calling the round method on these values, so I'll just type in round, and this again I'll round it up. So this is an inbuilt Python method that you can use to round up your figure to the nearest digits or whole number. So I will just save, and here, okay, I didn't type in my round here, so I'll save again and run it. Now I have 3. So when you round the value of that division up to the nearest whole number, it's supposed to move on to 3. But then if you use the double slash here and remove the round, so I will just remove that round function, and I'm going to print this directly again, and I'll save. So because I'm using a single forward slash here, so I'll change it to the double forward slash and print. So now we have 2, and this is what is happening when you use this double forward slash. It just gives you the floor value from the division. Okay, so this is how this works. So I am going to clear this output and we'll proceed to the next one. We are now going to move over to comparison operators. So what is comparison operators? So we already explained what comparison operators are, and they are used to compare two values to check whether they are the same or not. So now let's write something like this: 2 is equal to 1, and save and run this. So it says syntax error, you cannot assign literal here. So when you are using just one equal, the value by your left is a variable name, and the value by your right is what you're assigning it to. So one equals is an assignment operator. It is not a comparison operator. But when you change this one equal to double equals and save, so I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to add another equal sign here, and I am going to print it. I'm going to wrap it in a print statement so that it will print the outcome of this comparison. So let's save and run, and here we have false. So what is simply happening here is that it is comparing 2 to 1, and it's saying that false, that 2 and 1, they are not equal. So if I use something like 2 is equals 2 and save and run, you have true. Okay, so the next comparison operator is not equal to. So not equal to is written as exclamation mark and then an equal sign. So what this simply means is that the two values are not the same. So right now I'm going to change this equals equals to not equals, and then I'm going to run the statement, and it says false because 2 and 2, they are equal. Okay, so that is why it is returning a false value. So when you are using comparison operators and even logical operators, it is going to return a true or a false value for you. Okay, so if after comparison the two values are equal, it will return true, and if they are not, it will return false. So you can actually use this on strings. So you can set a string to, let's say, a string variable to name. So I'm going to set it to perpetual. So watch that I use capital letter P, and then the rest will be small letter. And I'm going to set another variable, friend name, underscore name. And I'm going to set it to, again, perpetual. So I can come down here and say print name is equals friend name. So let's save this and run. And here it says true. And that is because the exact string that is in the variable name is the exact string that is in the variable friend name. So I can change this now to a small letter P, and then I will run again. And let's go down, and it says false because the characters are not exactly the same. So the first name is the first name was written with the capital letter P, and the second was written with small letter p. So you know that everything you're doing in Python is case sensitive. Okay, we can also use other comparison operators. So we can try using not equals for these two values, and it says true because this and this, they are not equal. So I'm going to comment out these other print statements so that we will know the exact one that is printing. So let's run this again. So, and now we have just the print statement here as our output. Okay, so let's clear the terminal. So you can practice more with these operators on your strings and your numbers. So let's move on to logical operations. So in this particular type of operation, Python looks at two expressions or two statements and know whether the two of them are true or false. So if the two of them are true, it returns true. And if one of them is false, well, depending on the operator you are using, it may return true or false. Okay, so like we stated, we have the and, we have the or, and we have the not. So how can we use this? So we have this expression, name is equals friend name, and string hello is less than the string New York. So let's print this so that we can see whether it is true or false. So based on the variables that we have declared initially, so we are trying to combine the two and know whether the two statements are valid. So if these two statements are valid, it will return true for us. So let me add in my print function here, print, and then save. So let's run it. And it says false because one of them is definitely not true. So name and friend name are not equal. So I can change this P to capital letter P again, and let's run it. And here it says true. Okay. So this other one is returning false because now we said not equal here. All right. So we can set that to equal so that it will return true for us if that is what we want. Okay. So and this one, we know the truth that New York is greater and the value of hello is less. So I'm going to save, and then everything should be returning true for us right now. Okay, so assuming one of them is in the false state, and let's say this is in not equal state and one is true. So if I run this for this particular print statement on line 29, it is going to return false because one of them is false. The both of them are not true. Okay, if I use another operator here now, or, and save, well, this is going to return true because one of the statements are true. So assuming the two of them are false, it is going to return false for us. Yes, because the two of them are false. So one of the statements have to be true for the or operator to return a true value for you. Okay. Okay, so now this brings us to the not operator. So in a situation whereby the two of them are false, what you can do is to pass the not operator here. So you just wrap the two statements in the not operator So remember that we have a print statement. So we also wrap the not operator in a print statement. Okay, so let's save now, and it says true because this statement here, this expression here, and this expression here are true. So now we have come to the end of our basic Python operators. So we have gone over arithmetic operators on strings and numerical values, comparison operators on both strings and numerical values. Then we have also done logical operator. So you can try out the arithmetic operators on floats and complex numbers. So for floats, you can have something like this: print 2.5 over 2.0. Okay, and when you run and save, you should be able to return a float value for you. Okay, so and you can also apply the double slash here, and this returns an absolute value for you. Okay, so just play with it. You can also store the 2.5 or whatever value in a variable, like value 1 equals maybe 2.5, and value 2 is 2.0. So to output it, you can say value equals value 1 over value 2. Then you print value. Okay, or in the print statement, you can come directly in the print statement and say value 1 over value 2. Okay, so just do whatever works for you. Okay, try and use this operators to print something on your screen and manipulate your data, okay, so that you know what the outcome will be like. So you can also apply them on complex numbers like 2 plus 5j and 2 plus 0j. So if you are creating a complex number in Python, the letter you use should be letter J. So because if you use another letter, it will not work. So if I'm to divide this now and run, it gives me this value. Now you can try this out. Just write it in this way, write it in another way. You can also apply comparison operations on them, logical operations on them. Just follow the steps that we used, and your code will run perfectly well. So this is it for this video. Thank you for following up to this point. See you in the next video.